Welcome, legends, to another episode of the Interchange podcast, and thank you for joining me, your host, Ben Lowe, in another one of these short episodes around the youth crime issue that we are having here on the Gold Coast. Now, today I'm joined by Fidel Tukel, who was is an ex-gang member, as well as also owner of a boxing gym who's doing amazing things in the community for young men. Fidel, thanks for joining me, brother.
Thanks, Benny. Thanks for having me on, and I'll just clarify that I was not part of a gang. I was part of an MC. It was a club. I joined the motorcycle club, and the name gang comes from all the police and what they want you to feel. Look, I was part of a club, but yeah, I've moved on from that, and I'm part of a gym now, and yeah, things have changed, and instead of looking after some grown-ass men, I'm looking after some young kids now, and I'm enjoying my life, yeah.
Love to hear it, man. Love to hear it. And I guess, can you tell us a little bit more about who you are, what you do, and I guess why this is something that's so close to you when it comes to working with these young men?
Mate, not much really special about myself. I was brought up in the Housing Commission, all the way from country Victoria into Blacktown in Sydney. Always been in Housing Commission my whole life, so I lived a pretty tough life, pretty hard life.
Yeah.
Been around beautiful people, even living hard lives. Normally the best people come out of those places.
Of course, yeah.
I've been lucky enough to meet incredible people with incredible stories, and unfortunately been unlucky enough to see people falter and fall, and it's helped my journey a lot. And I'm now with life. I've been very lucky to get away with what I've got away with in life, in the sense of I'm still breathing, I'm still alive. I've got a beautiful family, and now I like to give back, which was something that I never had as a kid growing up. And thankfully, I could have gone so many other ways, but I've seen the right side, like light side, in the sense of moving forward and trying to help and moving on with my life, and worrying about family and nothing else. So now I get to give back to these kids, and through my gym or through other external reasons, or facilities I can use, as in mentoring programs and youth facilities. Hopefully I can help some kids not get in the trouble that I used to get into. So yeah, that's my journey at the moment. Not really too exciting, but pretty exciting.
There's a lot going on there, bro.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on.
Yeah.
What are we playing it down for?
Yeah, there's a lot going on.
Yeah, man. Awesome, bro. Well, like I said, thank you very much for coming on. Now, you said something around getting into the trouble that you used to get into. What did that look like for you, being a child or being a young man? When you say getting into trouble, what was that for you?
Getting into trouble, I mean, like, we lived in a really low socioeconomic area. Blacktown, especially Blacktown, not many people had parents around at that time. If they weren't working, they were on the drugs or fart ass around doing their own thing. So kids kind of had to, basically grow themselves up. We had to do our own work. Getting in trouble is something as simple as getting into fights on the street. That was probably my forte. I was a big boy as a kid. Realised pretty quick that if I wasn't going to be bullied, I had to show them that I could fight, and I wasn't scared to fight, which obviously I was as a kid, but I had to put on that false persona. It worked really well for me. And I started to get the confidence where basically I could not just defend myself, but actually, command other people around and help, direct things. So it just kind of escalates at times, you go from being a kid that just has a fight in the street to whatever else it might come up. So, debt collections and everything else, it's nothing you're proud of, but as a kid, you don't know any better. So you just keep on going with it. It's not something you really think about, the consequences later. Yeah, the consequences are more important. Looking back now as a 43-year-old, and I've got 3 beautiful daughters, I wouldn't want them getting involved with a kid like me. Like, it's not that I'm a bad person, but
God's got a funny way of playing jokes on us, hasn't he?
Yeah, I don't know if it's a joke or a kick in the ass, but in the end of the day, it's the truth. It's not that I look down on anyone that does it. It's just I know better now, and I hope I can pass that message to kids so they don't fall in the same traps that I did. And it's not because anyone was bad. They just don't know any better. We aren't taught to know any better. We're on the street. We've got no families, and unfortunately, that's what we learn. It's what's around you. Is monkey see, monkey do.
That's right.
Just follow it.
It all comes back to environment, right? And obviously, like you said, growing up in Blacktown, which is a pretty rough side of town, and growing up when you did, that would have been what was normal for you, right?
Oh, it's every day. It's fight and survive, or run and survive. I'm fat and slow, so I don't run. I just fight.
Just punch on.
So that's how I learned. Like it's just you only have limited options, and you got to take what's given. And sometimes it's not the legal way, or it's not the right way, but that's all we know. And what we see now is everyone's talking about kids are doing this and kids are doing that. Well, what are we providing for these kids? What kind of outlets are we providing for them to keep busy or do the right things?
Yeah.
Every time, as you would know, every time you try to do something right, some political bureaucratic red tape comes up. No, you can't do this, and no, you can't do it that way. Well, no disrespect to no one, because everyone's probably trying. But what the fuck do you know? Where have you been a boss of a group or a what they would call a gang or and then calling out the other side? No one. Most of you guys have been at school and had good upbringings and everything else, and you're trying to dictate to us and tell us what the kids are missing?
What they need and what they actually will listen to. I think that's the big part that's missing here is the fact that, the services and there are some really good services out there, but the problem is a lot of these are the private sectors. They're not the actual public sectors. Like child services, like we get that they're looking after the kids and they're doing what they can for them, but those kids aren't going to relate to someone from child services because a lot of these people haven't been through the same shit they've been through.
No, well, relation's the biggest problem. So the biggest thing that I get is the connection, immediate connection. I don't need to talk to a kid that's in trouble for them to connect to me. They see me walk in, they see what I look like, they see how I walk and how I hold myself, and they know straight away, I'm from the street.
Yep.
This guy's been through a hard life.
It's the energy.
It is an energy that passes on real quick, but it's also something that in the street, I'll walk through the street and people just don't look at me. I get embarrassed. I look down, I don't look at people in the eyes because I feel like I'm being intimidating. And it's not because I'm a hard ass or I'm trying... But there is a walk to me. There is a certain way I swagger because of the shit I've been through and how I have to hold myself. And these kids don't want to... They know as soon as you walk through the door if you're legitimate or not.
Yeah, exactly
and
right.
have you been through what they've been... I've spoken to them. They go, why would we speak to a bloke, especially when you look at the ethnic side of things? Why would we speak to a person that doesn't understand our culture, doesn't understand how our families act or what we've been through? And why would we believe anything they're going to say or how they're going to fix it? And that's where my connections have been really tight, especially for the ethnic kids. Have been through, they know that they relate to me. They know that it's relatable. I've been through what they've been through, if not worse, probably worse. And they want to see what comes on the other side. Is there greener pastures if they do the right thing? Which there is. There is greener pastures.
Of course. So can we talk a little bit more into the work that you have actually done with these young men? Because I know you've got the boxing gym, but there was also a project that you're working on to try and actually start to go and talk in the prison system, and that got roadblocked. Yeah,
it got roadblocked pretty quick. I work with a mentoring program, IBFF, doing great work. They work inside the schools. They they fundraise really well to help kids get on the right path. And we looked at branching out and trying to get inside the corrective services for youth corrective services to help the children or the youth re-assimilate into society before they got out.
So you had that transition, that integration process, right?
That's right. Yeah. So the programs inside would be either for work or would be for school or would be for sports. And basically they run an 8 to 12 week program before they re-assimilate into our society. We had a really good program that they use in the US, which has a really low reoccurrence rate. I think they're at 2% or 1.5%.
It's crazy, isn't it?
Crazy numbers. Whoever does this, it's called the Freedom to Choose Project.
Gotcha.
They're massive. They're in California, in 49 of the 50 jails in California. And like I said, I think the maximum is 2% reoccurrence rate. Or reoffense rate is what they would say. We were going to bring something very similar to that because we had a friend that was really heavily involved with them overseas. She was in the Freedom to Choose Project for 5 years while she married an ex-inmate there. So she learned the system really well.
Did you say she married an ex-inmate?
Married an ex-inmate, ex-lifer actually.
Yeah,
and met him while she was
doing the
program. And yeah, they got married and they did it together for a while before he tragically passed away. We had all the right credentials in place, with the right system in place. Look, IBFF, to their credit, really tried to help out, but was blocked immediately. The corrective services said, look, we're pretty happy with what we do. We have no issues with reprogramming the kids and try and get them back into society. But when you look at the numbers, you're talking about, I think they released it 6 months ago, it was 48 or 49% re-offending rate.
Yeah, and it costs them $700K a year to keep one of these kids in there.
Well, it's a business, isn't it? You've got 1,000 kids incarcerated. Right? times 7. What is it? What did you just say before?
700K.
700K per kid. You're talking nearly $1 billion.
Yeah.
All right. How many people feed off that $1 billion? I'm not saying people are taking money off under the table. What I am saying is
it's jobs,
cleaners.
Yeah.
You got security. You got food staff. You got whatever. You're keeping thousands of people in work, and so you kind of want them to come back in the system, don't you? Like that's as bad as it sounds. Like the program and you've been in the system itself.
I have.
So you understand it's created for you to come back.
It is.
It's
once
not
you
for
have
you to go
your OMS number, once you've got that number, right? So what's it? It's MIN's number in New South.
number in New South Wales,
so up here it's OMS number, right? IOMS, whatever it is. Once you've got that number, it's a revolving door. Revolving door. Boom. See you later.
But that's your number for life.
That's it. D69731.
Yeah. Well, if they really want you not to come back, why would you have a freaking tattooed number on you?
Fucking barcode, right? A barcode. That's the thing. Like, and I can see that as well. Like, there is no support. Okay, like you go to jail, you get out, you get a $200 welfare check, and it's like off you go. And what are you going to do? You're going to go back to doing the same shit you did because you've been given no skills to reintegrate. Right? I was selling drugs from 15 years old. Right, 15 years old. The entire time I had no other job. I had jobs here and there trying to get out of the lifestyle, but it was just too easy to sell drugs. That's where the money was, right? And I was looking up to the people that I was looking up to, guys like yourself that had the cars, had the girls, had the money, right? And I was just like, well, fuck, why wouldn't I just do that? It was easy. I didn't have any other skills. There was no reintegration into society. Once you're in prison, it's just like, okay, cool. You play cards, you shoot drugs, or you train.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all there is, right? And the people that want to change will change, but there's no support there for them to change, right? You get out, you get put on parole, and they'll check in with you every once in a while. Have you got a job? No? Okay, cool. Sweet. Now
what again, they want this to happen. So it's easy for us to say, well, it's our place to try change it, but there's a system in place, and sometimes you just can't beat the system. And so what do? We just do what we can do on a personal level, and that's why I've been involved with sports basically for the last 15 years. I've coached all community teams like OzTag, Rugby Union, League, to the highest levels, even at state level, national level. I've been an international rugby league coach, I'm state level rugby union coach, boxing, UFC, whatever it is. And I've kept the kids engaged through sports, and I've seen that's the best outlet for me to get my message across. And what I get to do is I provide a family environment for these kids,
which is what a lot of these kids don't have,
missing,
right?
Yeah,
that's right. They come from an environment that's volatile, right? Like, look at the statistics. Most of these kids come from background of sexual, mental, physical, or emotional abuse. 85% of the kids that are in juvie justice have a mental illness, which links back to that. Right, which is crazy.
It is, but it's the truth. And it is, there's always some type of family issue involved when you've gone the wrong way.
Yeah.
You're lacking family, or you've got some type of abuse of some sort, God forbid.
Or even in my case, just feel like you don't fit in because you're the black sheep of the family. So the only place you find yourself is when the people are around you taking drugs.
Hey, or whatever else they might do.
Exactly.
Drugs aren't always the root of all evil, in the sense of it wasn't always the reason why I played up. I'll be honest, recreational drugs wise, as a kid between the ages of 20 to 30, I was doing what every other kid does in my position.
Every young male.
But I didn't touch it till I was 19-year-old. And I never abused it. I wasn't into it. It wasn't into me. Like I'll say, I've abused alcohol.
Yeah.
I love a drink, and I still to this day I'm a devout Muslim. But in the end of the day, I do drink, and that's my sin. But I believe it's my only sin now, and I'm not proud of it, but it's just part of my life. And as a kid growing up, I don't think the stuff I did was because of alcohol or drugs. It was.
So what was it for you then?
It was pressure. It was just wanting to be part of something.
Wanting to fit in.
Yeah, well, but when you look back, it was because it was. As a kid, I was in high school. Always wanted to be, the bloody school captain or the house captain because I felt inferior.
You want to be the popular guy, right?
Yeah, I want to be not just popular. I want to be the boss because I was so inferior because my lifestyle coming up was I had nothing. I had no money. My family wasn't around. I had enough like freaking cars, whatever it was. So I was always chasing to be the person in charge, and it taught me to be very, very practical. To be honest, it worked out well for me later in life. But it's just something that I think I had to try be the king dingaling back in those days. I had to be the badass too, and I had to be the guy that will fight and go further than everyone else would. If it was a fight, then we'll go even harder, and I'll organise this and I'll do this. And it escalates really quick because then you start to go, wait a minute, I'm pretty good at this, and I've organised really well, and I've got a good little crew, and oh yeah, this is fucking easy. I'll just.
Then you found your place as a leader, right?
Yeah, but look, I wish I was brought out in different ways.
Yeah, of course.
He was brought out later in life, but look, God has a plan. He made me who I am for a certain reason, and I believe now it's not to run a motorcycle club. It's to go out and help 12, 13, 14, 15-year-old kids. Look, at the age of 18, 19, there's not much I can do for you.
Yeah.
But those volatile years between 12 and 16 are really pivotal.
That's when it really happens, right?
I really believe that's my place, and getting those kids that are just on the brink, like send them to me. I'll teach them a bit of respect.
And so what would that look like to send, obviously, like, because you've done a lot of work with these kids. In your opinion, what is it these young men need? Because, I mean, like we said, the jails aren't working.
It's so
try and
simple.
lock them up, throw away the key. That's the answer they have. Like, that's not gonna do. It's not doing shit.
So simple. Someone to give a fuck.
Yeah,
That's
someone,
it.
Someone to love them, right?
Someone to just give a fuck. Don't worry about loving them. Like, love's a really harsh word. Like, love is something that's created over time. Just ring them up and say, how you doing? What's going on? What are you fart-assing around for? Why are you training today? Hey, wake up to yourself, mate. La, la, la. That's all, like, because then someone's fussing about them. It's not about loving them. Someone's fussing. Someone actually cares.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
Showing them the attention, right?
Just a bit of attention. Yeah. That's all it is, mate. Yeah, like, again, why do you wear jewelry or have a nice car or have a Louis Vuitton shirt?
For people to look at you.
Attention.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah? So you're chasing attention. That's all it is.
To validate.
Right?
Yeah.
And it's not a bad thing. It's just because I was the same. I'm not going to bag anyone. I was exactly the same. I'm freaking dressed up in stupid ass looking shirts. I look at them now and go, what the hell was I thinking? I have a big ring and crazy gold glasses. Like, mate, get out of here. Like, I look like an idiot. But that's me. I look like an idiot. If they want to wear it, they can wear it. It's fine.
Yeah.
But what I'm trying to say is it was just basically attention. And someone sending you a 2-second text message saying, hey, what are you up to? What are you fuck-assing around for? Where are you today? Oi, stop getting in trouble. Why haven't you got your license yet? I do that to my fighters. I've got 35 fighters, maybe 20 of them under the age of 20, right?
Yep.
So very vulnerable. Good kids. Everyone's such good kids. But they can go the other way very quickly too.
Yeah, it's, like you said, they're in that volatile state.
If they don't come to train one day and they haven't messaged me, where are you? Oh, sorry, I didn't want to come in today. Oh, if you worked at McDonald's, you wouldn't be saying, oh, I'm not coming in today. You fucking rock up. And this is what this is, it's a job. Now you turn up, make sure you put your hours in or you're not going to fight. And just that keeps them engaged, keeps them happy.
Well, they've got accountability, but they've also got the routine and structure, right?
So important. Routine and structure. And I think, like, I see my friends come out of prison. I'm lucky enough not to have been in prison before. A lot of overnight stays in the fish tank, but never know.
That's probably worse, to be fair.
Yeah, I was disgusting, yeah. Every single time was disgusting. But I see that structure come out in a lot of these guys.
Yeah.
And they're organised and, they're clean and they're neat. And that's really important for a kid growing up, being structured, being organised and being on time. And, life is hard, man. And if you don't do things in that pretext of following a system or following the program every day, things go fucking out of whack real quick.
Yeah, 100%. Like, even talking into that, a lot of these kids come from really chaotic backgrounds. And so, like you said, going into jail, going into whatever it might be, the only good thing that ever really comes out of that, and I know for myself, talking into my experience, was the structure. Having to get up and make your bed every day, but going out and training at the same time every day, but just having that routine. Because prior to that, life was fucking chaotic as I had no structure. I was smoking meth every day. I was, riding around in stolen cars. I was going from here to there and everywhere. And there was no routine, no structure at all. And that was a big thing, even in my life now with the men that I work with. It's like giving them routine, giving them structure, giving them something to actually follow. So they've got a plan, direction, something they're working towards.
Well, without routine and preparation, nothing good ever comes. And that's just the way it works. I learnt this in my first fight. I said 6 weeks prior to my first fight. By that time I'd had about 12 years of training under my belt. I started when I was 14. I had my first fight at 26. And I had a gym. It had maybe 50 fighters in there. And about 20 of them were brand new fighters. New fighters, never had a fight before. We held the state titles. I actually put the show on for New South Wales state titles. And I said, look, if you guys fight, I'll fight. And they all, put their hands up. So we would have had like 40 fighters. And then, basically me being me, never followed no script in my life, just kind of wing it. I went to America, I had some big convention thing on in Vegas, some party there for a week. Went to Colombia, had a convention there, had a freaking party there too for a week. Come back 2 weeks before the event. And the boys go, oh, yeah, you start sparring yet? And I said, I'm not fighting, man. I've been away for 2 weeks. They said, if you pull out, we're pulling out. 20 kids. And I said, all right, well, I'm doing it. My ego got ahead of me. And instead of going in the
as it easiest, commonly does for us as men, right?
Always does, not commonly, always. And I go, oh, I'll be right. I'll go on the elite division with the biggest guys, and whatever. Yeah, I'll go with the elite guys in the biggest divisions, and I fought a guy I think 7-0 in my first fight. You know, monster, 125 kilos, 6'5". First round, did my best, did really well, over him easy. Second round, mate, it was all over. I gassed out.
Gas tank, see you later.
Third round, I'm trying to headbutt him, I'm biting him, I'm low blowing him just to get disqualified. And the referee, funnily enough, was a friend of ours. And she said, there's no way I'm disqualifying you. And I ended up losing the fight.
Yeah.
My first fight. Now you can walk out of that going, shit, stuff that, mate, you know, I'm an idiot. I made a fool of myself and whatever else. Or you can walk out and say, what happened? And I like to reanalyze when I make mistakes because everyone makes mistakes.
Yeah.
And it was very easy. It was just no preparation. I didn't train hard for it. I didn't do what I was supposed to do. So before I walked out, I psyched myself out. Now, if that had been a spar, I would have done 10 rounds with the guy. Because I knew I wasn't prepared, I psyched myself out. Now, I take that now into everything I do in life. It's either all in and preparation is key, including routine. Because without routine, you can't have preparation.
Of course.
Or don't fucking do it. Don't waste your time. Because it's not going to happen. It's not going to work.
And that's obviously something that these kids need as well, is like that preparation, right? Actually showing them the ropes, showing them what they need. And so in talking into that, like with these young men, what do you feel like we as a society and even us as, you know, leaders ourselves can do to support these young men?
Harden them the fuck up. No, that's just the honest truth.
Bring them to the boxing gym.
No, not just boxing. Just got to harden up. Stop making excuses. Stop allowing them to have excuses. It's not just boxing. You can do it in any sport. You can do it in any environment. Any other day, excuses.
So teaching them discipline, in other words.
Mate, just got to turn up. And if not, there's consequences. And like, unfortunately, at times, kids got to go to juvie and they got to do their time. They got to learn. But given the opportunity that, hey, you made a mistake, let's go. We'll give you another chance. I have a common saying in my gym. It's meow. Oh, my knee hurts. Oh, my neck, meow. Like, get over it. Don't come train then. Don't do it. But if you don't turn up, do your job and bust your ass through it. You're not in an NRL program. You're not like there's a $10 or $15 million system that has to work behind your back. If you can't train at 100%, then fucking it's life. But you still got to like,
sharp.
Mate, at work, you've had a bad day. You're not going to not turn up. You got to work. You got to turn up. Yeah, and I say, like, I might sound like a bad dad here, but I've got a 10-year-old daughter that is a really technical boxer. She's very smart. She spars and she gets hit. She doesn't know how to take that into the spar. But I make her spar twice a week because she has to learn to get over it, learn. I said to her, do you get hurt? She goes, no. I say, you scared? She goes, yeah. I said, well, learn how to beat that fear. You're going to spar every day till it becomes normal to you. And slowly so, she's getting into this position where at the age of 10, she understands she has to work 3 days a week, hour and a half, basically if she wants to be a proper boxer because she wanted to travel with me.
Yeah.
And this is like, it might sound like a bad parent, but I give them all my love. I spend every second with them. I can. But I also understand that they got to learn that life's hard, man. And you can get punched in the face. Yep. That's the way it works. There's no one there to help you. So learn to put up with it and grow from it.
Yeah, man. Couldn't agree more. Couldn't agree more. And so then with these young men, then with the kids themselves, with what you do with them in the boxing gym, how have you noticed that even just giving them a bit of attention, even just giving them that bit of care has started to shape them to become better men?
Well, the discipline aspect's probably the best thing that you've seen from the kids. It's they start to respect what's around them. They start to respect what's given to them. Something as simple as they're respecting their gear, like their gloves, their wraps, wrapping up,
looking after their stuff.
Yeah. Especially when you give it for free, and they're 15, 16-year-old kids with $500 worth of gear. You give them hand-me-downs, but they look after it. They learn to look after it. Turn up on time. Because if they don't turn up on time, I'm not doing no pads with them. Or if they don't turn up on time, they're not doing any sparring. And if they don't think they're sparring, they can't fight.
Yeah.
And if they can't fight, they got no chance to fight at Queensland titles or at Australian titles and blah, blah, blah. So there's that little progression there. What you do see is they learn this discipline. They start to respect not just the work they're putting in, so they don't want to stuff that up, but they also start to respect the people helping them. but then they also start to respect society because they understand that the hands become weapons and they don't want to overuse them and can. I've never seen a kid walk in the gym and then walk out and start beating people up. I've never seen that
That's
myself.
one thing I've actually never really seen as well.
Yeah.
People that can fight tend not to.
Try to stay out of it.
Yeah, that's right.
I know how it will look when we're kids, different story. I knew a lot of guys that used to go to a bit of kickboxing class and then go out and try to start fights. But these days, it's really starting to be respected what it can do and how, the one punch campaigns have probably helped that a lot.
Yeah.
They can, can really hurt someone if you hit them the wrong way. And realistically, our hands become weapons, and the last thing you want to do is send someone out because they called you a fuckwit or they swore at your mum or something, and then just give them a slap or a pop, and they're asleep because they hit their head on the curb. So I think discipline, like the way they learn the discipline in all aspects of life through the gym, is probably been the best thing I've got out of it and what I've seen. But again, it's in all sports. As long as they're doing some type of sport, I believe they keep their heads right because everything. To progress in sport, you got to put in hard work.
Of course.
And hard work's the key to any success in life.
100%, man. And so then from the work that you're doing, and I guess what you've seen within the community, what is it you feel that we collectively need to do to try and start to curb this youth crime?
Basically what you're doing at the moment, man, like you're going out of your way and trying to do something. I'm the same. I'm pretty similar to you. I have had a rough year this year because of work, so it's been a lot harder, but people just have to start working in with each other and pushing the same agenda.
Yeah.
It's pretty simple. We want to clean up the youth crime. We don't want to throw them in jail. We want to fix the problem.
Yeah, you see everyone's so quick to, comment on social media. They see these kids out stealing cars, lock them up, throw away the keys. But we know that doesn't fucking work.
No, well, why
we know that doesn't fucking work, right?
Why are you doing it? Why were you doing it?
Stealing cars?
Yeah.
To fit in?
Fit in?
Yeah.
Well, I did it for money.
Yeah.
I used to get some good money for it.
Yeah.
And then I did it for as a joke sometimes, and I just wanted to see how fast I could do it. Obviously, these days are a lot harder.
There's like validation, right?
Yeah.
It's that little bit of validation. Push yourself.
Yeah, I was bored. Like that's just a simple answer. I was boring. Like we were just bored. We had nothing to do.
So you're giving what you're saying is the kids are doing this because they're bored. So giving them something to actually do.
Okay, well, like we have to fulfill their needs as well. Like at the end of the day, they're not academically on par. That's most of them. They aren't very smart in that sense because they've got intellectual disabilities or whatever else it may be, or learning difficulties.
Yeah.
And that's how it is. It's not means they're stupid or dumb. It's just they're not learning the same as everyone else.
They're learning different ways, right?
Well, give them some other avenue to work towards. Like it might be some type of work program or look. I haven't gone that deep into it in that aspect. I'm more trying to help the kids that are in some real big problems and real trouble at the moment. But like why did we do it? That's what we got to look back at. Why were we involved in peddling or on mucking around with stolen cars or bashing people or breaking into houses? Like most of the time, it's because there was nothing else to really do.
Yeah.
Get me busy. Hey, as soon as you found the girlfriend, you wouldn't be doing it because you kept busy with the girl.
Well, it's the same as going out on the piss and getting on the bag with the boys, right?
Yeah.
You do a lot less of that when you got a missus usually.
And that's
usually
because you're busy, right? Because you've got something occupying your time.
That's right. Yeah. What do they say? Idle hands make the devil's work, right?
There you go. So it's how do we keep kids busy? How do we? And sometimes it's just physical labor. Physical labor is no harm in physical labor.
Yeah.
Our country was built on physical labor. People came from everywhere in the world to put in the physical labor to build what we have now. And now we're all saying, oh, no, be softer on them. We shouldn't be doing this. We shouldn't be doing that. You got two aspects. One's going, throw them in jail. The other one's saying, oh, we're too hard on them. Mate, how about we figure out a way that we can do the both, and that's be hard on them.
Find the common ground, right?
Mate, and that's, look, guys like yourself and myself working together could maybe create that common ground, but there's always going to be roadblocks with people that don't want us around.
Yeah.
And that's just the way it works. There's going to be 1,000 people commenting on this saying, what the fuck would a bikie know? What would a ex-crim know? Blah, blah, blah. But in the end of the day, we're trying to do right and we're trying to do the right thing. And like I said about some of the guys that, maybe run the wrong programs, they're still doing the right thing. They're trying to do it for the right reasons, wrong or right.
Yeah.
So, God bless them. Like, that's good on them. We never had that. I never had no one looking after me. So if they're wrong or they're right, at least they're having a crack. And that's what we got to do. We just got to have a crack together and try fix this problem. It is a problem and we've got to fix it.
100%. I think that's obviously something we're trying to do with the Change for Good challenge that you and I have spoken about, is actually to shine a light on this issue, because the whole purpose behind that challenge is to show that as a community, we need to get together, because through something like that, which is really, really grueling, like it's a tough challenge, right? it's easier to get through these things when we do it together. It's the same for these kids by surrounding them with the right kinds of people, putting them in the right places in community and giving them the right environment to thrive. We can make the change. We can make the difference. We can actually change these kids' lives. But it comes down to us as a community really coming together to make that change.
As a collective, yeah.
As a collective.
Really,
it's not one thing that you and I can
yeah.
do alone. It's something that we need to do together.
Yeah, it's really important, and it has to. We have to maintain it as well. Like unfortunately, a lot of the times you see people get involved in certain programs, and sometimes stuff doesn't work out, and there's roadblocks get in the way, and they just get over it and they move on. It wasn't because they're bad people; they're just freaking over it. I get to that point sometimes. But luckily,
this event almost got cancelled like 3 times in the last week.
Sorry?
I said the event almost got cancelled 3 times in the last week.
Oh, really? Yeah,
bro.
okay.
I get what you're saying.
Yeah, it's hard, man. It's really hard, but you just got to push through. If that's really what you want, if that's your agenda, and that's what you want to get out of this, and that's to fix kids' lives, then fucking do it tough and get through it. We're asking them to toughen up, so do we. We've got to toughen up too.
100%. 100%. Awesome, Fidel, man. Well, thank you so much for coming on today and having a bit of a yarn about obviously what is really an issue that's on the tip of everyone's tongue at the moment. So if people want to find you, whether it be for boxing, whether it be to hear a bit more about your story, where can they find you, bro?
Look, Fight Club Burley, just down the road here at Burley Heads, or you can find me on Coach Fiddy at Instagram. I'm always putting something up and teasing someone.
I'll put all your links below, bro.
I'm a bad troll, so leave me alone, all right? So,
my guy, appreciate
thanks,
you, bro. Thank you, man.
Thank you so much.